Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to Route It Up. Today this is the second to last show. No, actually, no. We got I guess we could do the Pro Bowl one featuring all the Ravens players. We'll do that next week. Yeah, yeah. Good morning, everybody. We're gonna recap the divisional round today. We'll talk about some of the goings on as far as the news in the NFL, and then we'll preview the championship games this weekend, and talk about the different Super Bowl matchups that everybody's looking for. So first and foremost, JMIK, the divisional round. Was it as good for you as it was for me? Because man, it was excellent for me.
I mean, the only way it would have been better for me is if the Chiefs would have lost. I mean, I'm not going to cap the y'all. I mean, I'm the kind of guy that I don't want a team doing what my team ain't do. But outside of that, it was a good weekend, man. I mean, and you got one upset. Well, one big upset. I picked the Bills last week, so I didn't think it was that much of an upset. I mean, they weren't favored in the game, but the Commanders, man, like you got to give it. You got to tip your cap, man. Like Jaden Daniels has done something that I don't think any other quarterback has, because I don't think any quarterback has gotten to the conference championship game. So you got to tip your hat. The boy played really well. His defense showed up for him as far as forcing Jared Goff to commit turnovers and interceptions and fumbles and all that. So you got to give them credit for that. Going on to Sunday, the Eagles did what I expected them to do. It wasn't necessarily a pretty game. Well, it wasn't a pretty game in terms of stat lines, but like a snow game is always good. I'm a huge fan of like snow games or whatever. And then the Bills game, I picked them, so I wasn't that surprised. Like I know how hard it is to go into Buffalo and win, and that's just in the regular season. Never mind the postseason. So yeah, the weekend was a good watch.
Yeah, I agree, man. I obviously, I was pulling for Buffalo to win the game. I thought that the Chiefs would win as well. I was hoping that Houston was able to figure something out, but just didn't come to pass. But so wanted that home AFC Championship game, man, and shout out to the Commanders, man. Jaden Daniels, with one more win, will have as many playoff wins as Lamar Jackson, and this is Jaden Daniels' rookie season. So a lot is at stake here. Uh, Absolutely though, like what what Jaden Daniels has meant to the Commanders this year is unreal, man. Like it's crazy. I can't remember a rookie outside of like LeBron having this type of, like not even Kobe had this type of impact. Not even Wemby had this type of, like this is like LeBron. This is like Jaden Daniels is on like a LeBron run right now. In his rookie year. It's the team was, like I said, I take this every week, but the team was supposed to win 4 or 5 games again, and they're 4 quarters away from the Super Bowl. I think the weather took the Rams out. The Rams definitely had a chance, but it just wasn't meant to be. And it is what it is, man. You gotta tip your cap when you lose to a better team and you keep it moving. But no, nothing really surprised. Like outside of Detroit and the Commanders, there really were no. I don't think there were really surprises. Things kind of went the way. At least we expected them to go. Um, but coaching hires. So unless you got anything else for the divisional round,
No, it was pretty cut and dry for the divisional round. So, and we can go on to the coaches and stuff.
Yeah. All right. So coaching hires. Like what? Like let's go over the grades, man. What do you think? Patriots give your team. Patriots give Rabel. How you feel about that one?
Honestly, like I was on the Ben Johnson train, to be honest. We've had a lot of defensive coaches, but Vrabel not a bad coach though. It's not like we hired like a bad coach or something like that. So as far as that goes, cool. Like the staff he's putting together, I actually like the staff he's putting together. A lot of people don't like Josh McDaniels. I mean, Josh McDaniels is a solid play caller. I mean, he's not. I mean, he's not the best play caller in the world, but he's better than what we had. And I like the DC that we got from the Lions. He was a defensive line coach, so I mean, I like him as far as as far as that goes. And I mean, like we retain our special teams coach. Our special teams coach was, I think, our special teams was top 5 last year. So yeah, I mean, so as far as the coach staff goes, I'm pretty happy with it. Like, I mean, so I can't complain.
Yeah, I would have been. I mean, it to me like Vrabel is. I think that's the best coaching hire out of the group. I don't know, everybody that's been hired. I think Vrabel is the best pickup. Um, he's proven, respected. He's going to get the most out of that defense. They're not going to make mistakes. They're going to and then they're going to be aggressive. They're gonna do trick plays. They're gonna do things to. One thing when you have Vrabel as a head coach is your defense is going to be good, and you're going to the effort to win is every week. There's no weeks off. There's no taking games off. Like those guys are going to play. They're going to play hard, or they're not going to be there. So, and we talked about the Patriots this year having a bunch of pieces on both sides of the football that I think are that we both agree are good pieces to build around. He's just going to make that team better. I think what you did was put yourself in the spot to potentially make the playoffs next year. Got a draft coming up, a ton of bread, ready to spend in free agency. What you guys got, like $130 million, something like that?
Yep, and we got the most money in the league to spend. I
Yeah,
mean, I guess that's good because when you haven't been a good team, like you're gonna have to. I mean, like dudes that you bring in, I mean, you have to pay them more. So
yeah, but I think you got to get. I think you'll also get like a Vrabel discount on some guys. You'll get some veteran defensive players that like his scheme, like the way he calls it, like the way he schemes things up, and they'll come and they'll play for him. So you may get some of those guys. You may get some. You may even get some former Titans to come in here and play. I mean, they still got a few guys down there. I'm sure none of them want to stay down there and keep losing. So you may get some guys on the cheap, man. But
yeah, I mean,
what
because
else you got? Go
because
ahead.
that's pretty much. I mean, just to end on the page, like pretty much all the coaches we got, positional coaches, that they all came from Tennessee when he was the coach. I mean, some of them was some of them was with the Lions, and some of them were still with the Titans, and I mean, some were with the Giants. So it's like yeah, I mean, like it's the coaching staff is definitely like a blend of, I mean, like Titan guys that they had when he was the coach. But yeah, I mean that pretty much sums it up though. I mean, like Vrabel, I mean, like this year, I mean, with the Patriots, I mean, you can say like you kind of have some like, well, I kind of have some like effort, some effort concerns or whatever. And Vrabel, you're just not gonna get that, man. Like if you're not giving your 110%, he just not gonna play you. So I mean,
Right.
that's what's gonna change. So
Um, fact. That's a fact, man. All right, so we'll run through the rest of them. The Bears get Ben Johnson. The Jets get Aaron Glenn. What do you think? What do you think about those?
I mean, Ben Johnson. I mean, the Bears have done a lot of the stuff the Patriots done over the years in terms of hiring defensive coaches. This time they made a philosophy change and they hired an offensive coach. I mean, I like Ben Johnson a lot. My only issue with the Bears is the ownership. Like, I don't think their ownership is that great. So I'm just going to have to see how that turns out. I mean, like they got the roster's not bad. I mean, they just got to fix that offensive line. And if Ben could do that, I mean, the defense is already good. I think he's bringing on Dennis Allen as his DC. So I mean, Dennis Allen should have that defense playing pretty good. He just got if he could just short that offensive line, I mean, they're going to be a threat in that division. So
Yeah. A good quarterbacks coach. This is the draft where they can definitely grab another running back. I like Benson. I like the kids that they got out of Texas, but they could definitely. Well, I'm sorry, not Benson. Roshan Johnson. My fault.
yeah.
Um, and this is a good draft for running back. So pick up another running back. They still have receiving options out there. Maybe they go grab another receiver, maybe another tight end or something like that. Offensive line, they got to hit that early. There aren't that many offensive tackles that stand out this year. There are some interior guys, but you know, you gotta be diligent this year. I think in the draft process to go and grab the right pieces on the offensive line. Defensively, they got guys. They just you're just gonna have to find like you said, Dennis Allen. As long as he can get those guys to play unselfish, uh, tough football, they'll be fine. Like that, that's a good team. And one thing we know about the NFC North is they're gonna be good during the regular season. And 3-1 and done is crazy, man. 3-1 and done in the playoffs is crazy. So I don't see why the Bears can't compete. Um,
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn. I like Aaron Glenn. I like the hire for the Jets. I thought that a defensive head coach was the right way to go for them because that's where the bulk of their talent is. Um, I'm curious to see who he brings on as his DC. I know he was talking about bringing on, um, I can't remember who it was, but I know he talked about bringing on a DC and an OC. So those hires are going to be huge, and you've got basically you're turning over the entire secondary outside of Stars. So Glenn was a really good corner in his day. I'm sure Sauce is going to learn a lot from him. I'm sure they'll be active in the draft and active in free agency. We're trying to grab some guys. They even have a few guys that I like. Quantez Stiggers, the kid they got out of the CFL. Um, Brandon Eccles played well for them. And they have a couple other guys like Jarius Monroe, kid out of Tulane. So he's got a lot of pieces in that secondary to work with. They've got a good combo of linebackers. And the defensive line, they got some young talent that they need to continue to continue to grow and develop. And then on the offensive side, there's a lot they got to figure out. But defensively, they'll remain in games. They'll be able to run the football, strengthen up the offensive line, you know, and figure out the quarterback spot. But they'll be in games. They'll be in games this year.
So I mean, when I look at Aaron Glenn, like I also think it's a good hire. But my thing is, whenever it comes to the Jets, it's not about who they hire, but it's about is Woody Johnson going to stay out the way. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. I mean, like, is he going to let him and the GM do their jobs? And from that aspect, defensively, I'm not concerned. Man, I mean, Glenn is a great, DC. I mean, he's not going to be the de facto DC on this team, but I know he's going to bring in somebody. And I mean, the defense got a lot of pieces. And I mean, like they need corner help, and this is the perfect draft for that because there's a lot of good corners. You don't have to take one in the first round. I mean, like depth of corner in this draft is pretty good too. I mean, like it's it's a bunch of guys that are over 6. Well, I don't say over 6 feet, but like at 6 feet or taller. And like have good size. So I mean, if you need corners, I mean, this is a draft for that. I mean, if you need safety, there's a few really, really good safeties in this draft. So the back end, they should be able to show that back end up. My question for the Jets is offensively. I mean, you got the saga with Aaron Rodgers and Tate. So if you keep Aaron Rodgers, you might be able to keep Tate. But if you don't keep Aaron Rodgers, then that's not going to happen. And you got to bring in an OC that's going to be able to shape that offense. And the issue is like a lot of teams are hiring OCs or have done so already. So like the list of OCs that are out there that you can hire the list is not that long. So they're gonna have to kind of get on that pretty quickly. But like the Jets, like I said, like I do agree with you, Whittle. Defense should be fine. I'm not really. If I'm a Jets fan, I wouldn't worry about the defense. It's more about like the offense, and like the one thing I'll say is like them drafting Olu kind of set them up because that's going to be their left tackle for the next 10 years. Like I don't think if you watch this tape, I don't think you doubt that at all. It's just like they kind of got to shore up the other part of the line, get themselves like another right tackle. Maybe get them some depth pieces at guard, and they should be all set to go. And they'll probably draft a running back too. Like we said earlier, this is a very heavy, class for running backs. And you don't even got to draft them early. Like there's guys that you can get in the third, fourth round that could be really, really good in the league too. So.
Wait, so you talking about the Jets though?
Yeah, the Jets. Yeah.
You think they take another running back?
I think they take one later in the draft. Because I'm not sure Brees going to be there for the long. I don't think they're giving him another contract, in my opinion. So if I'm them, I'm not saying you draft him in day 1 and day 2, but you can draft one in like day 3. Like you can draft one in the 5th, 6th round. You just want to kind of stash because, like I said, like this draft is so deep with running. Like this class is like 10 to 12 deep, And so I think there's going to be guys on day 3 that you could draft and just kind of stash. Because I think Brees is coming on his what's it about to be his 4th year he's coming up on?
Yep. He's going to be a free agent after this year.
So it's like they got to make a decision. And I mean, if they're going to keep him, then I'd say you don't draft a running back. But if you have any idea that you're not going to keep him and that you might need another guy behind Braylon Allen, then this is the draft. This is just the draft one, and just kind of he don't got to play this year, but you know, I mean, play him on special teams or something, and you have to do stash. That's all.
Yeah, I'm. You know what? I'm not mad at that. I think if they do that though, that tells me that they have a trade already lined up for Brees. That. I would definitely see that if they move Brees like in the offseason before the draft or during the draft. Like I could definitely see that. And the last 2 coaches, actually last 3, Liam Cohen, Pete Carroll, Brian Schottenheimer. The Jags, they're really trying to be like the Panthers used to be the worst organization in football, and the Jags are like beating down the door trying to like take that award away from them. What was the deal with like holding on to Trent Baalke for all of that time when you know you're not going to keep, like when you know that all of these coaches or all of these guys, these candidates for coaches, have said the same thing. We don't want to work with a GM that's already there. Like the ones that everybody wants, they want their own GM. So holding on to Trent Baalke made no sense, especially after drafting Trayvon Walker over Aiden Hutchinson. Like, bro, he should have been fired after that. I mean, and they decided to keep him. Let really good coaches like Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn walk away to other jobs. When honestly, that was probably the best situation outside of the Patriots from a talent standpoint. I mean, that was I just thought that was kind of crazy that they did that, but I guess good hire like Liam Cohen. He's done a great job with. He did a great job with that Buccaneers offense this year. Pete Carroll feels like just like a stopgap move, but I don't feel like this is a long-term situation. I think this is a guy that's going to come in, establish some sort of baseline culture, and then groom somebody else to take over for him. And Schottenheimer, what the hell? Like, what the hell, Dallas? Like, what? This is the move you make. You should have kept. You should have kept. You should have kept McCarthy for this. Like this. Whatever. They're dumb. What's your thoughts, man?
I mean, the whole Liam Cohen saga was kind of funny to me, man. When I mean they were gonna keep Bogey, he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna just be like I'm in the OC for another year," and then they magically fire him, and then he's ready to be a head coach again. I mean, to me, it was a saga, man. I mean, you got Buck fans crashing out because they're kind of mad. I mean, to me, it's a good hire because like he's got a good offensive mind, so you got to kind of see how that goes. Right. My issue with Liam Cohen, if you look at his history, he ain't stayed at one place longer than a year. We going back like his last 10 years. He just hasn't. And so it's just going to be interesting. I mean, like how good he's going to be actually staying in a place for more than a year. The Pete Carroll thing, like I agree, like that. The man's 72 years old, man. He's not going to be coaching for the next 10 years. I seriously doubt that. Like I think it's their chance to kind of get them into more of like a baseline situation because the organization is kind of turning over with. I mean, like Tom Brady being like a minority owner. They fired the GM, fired the coach. So I mean, they're trying to get that program on a baseline, and I think Pete Carroll is good for that. And once you get the program on a baseline, then I mean, you might want to let Pete go and then hire like one of his proteges that's coaching under him or whatnot. Right. So I don't say think it's a bad hire. It's just not a long-term hire because he's said, like I said, he's 72 years old. I'm not sure how much longer he's really gonna. I mean, he's one of the most, like in terms of being 72 years old, like his energy level is crazy. I'll give him that. I mean, he's he's chewing the gum. He's running up and down the sideline or whatever. So I mean, he's got the energy to do it. I just don't know how long he's gonna be able to do it. The Brian Schottenheimer, Brian Schottenheimer to me, like I don't want because I don't know if he's going to be a bad head coach. I just think that Jerry Jones just wants to be able to control somebody, and I just think he's the guy. He was already the OC. He's showing that Jerry. He wasn't really getting interviews for other teams and jobs or whatever. So it's like it's just a guy that he can control, and I mean he's going to continue to run the team how he wants to run it. And I mean, if they're not careful, Jerry gonna run that team into the ground. I mean, if they're not already there. So I mean, I don't love the hire, but I honestly don't know. I've not looked into Brian Schottenheimer enough to know how good of a coach that he really is, or he's not. I mean, his resume is extensive though. Like I think he's been assistant coach for almost 20 years. I mean, like his dad, obviously. I mean, like we know who his dad is. I mean, like his dad was a
Right.
really good, regular season coach. So I mean, he's got the lineage of being a coach. He just he got his work cut out for him. And as long as Dak is healthy and you have CD Lamb good, I mean the offense will be fine. It's just they're going to work on that defense.
Yeah, maybe they shouldn't draft another 5'8" running back. They should probably leave that alone.
I mean, everybody got him taking Genty right now, so that's. I mean, I wouldn't if you got a lot of needs. I would not be drafting a running back in the first round. And I said earlier, this is a heavy running back draft. You don't have to draft one in the first round. You can draft somebody else. And the Saints, I'm not even sure what this because the Saints haven't hired nobody, but I mean, all I'm gonna say is
you know what they're waiting for. You know what they're waiting for.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it from some Saints fans they want Joe Brady, but I've also heard that they're gonna interview Mike McCarthy too. So I mean, they might get. I mean, if Joe not ready to leave, then they might have to settle on Mike McCarthy. So
I hope Mike gets the job this week while Joe's busy. Yeah, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for Joe to go anywhere. Listen, this would be, and I left the Saints for that reason because I think that's what they're doing. I think they're waiting for Joe Brady to. They're waiting for the Bills to get eliminated. So,
I mean, but it'd be interesting if the Bills win though. If the Bills win, you got to wait another 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that's like a long time because you got to start getting your staff together. You got to get ready for the Senior Bowl. Like there's a lot going on right now. So they keep pushing it off. They got to do something. I think if the Bills win tomorrow, you'll see them move forward with another coach, and just Brady will just have to wait. But if not, if Brady does end up taking that job, this would be the fourth. It would be the next offensive coordinator would be Josh Allen's fourth one in the last 4 years. So, I hope it doesn't happen because I think Joe Brady's done an excellent job, but it is what it is, man.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I was going to add one thing, like to your point, not just the Senior Bowl, but like the Shrine Bowl is this week. The Shrine Bowl next Saturday. So it's I mean, like your scouting department will be at these, like these Senior Bowls and these Shrine Bowl situations. They'll be there. But like, if you don't even have a coach, you don't have an OC, you don't have a DC, so you can't even send your positional coaches down to take a look at these guys. So I mean, like you're kind of going to be at a disadvantage. So,
all right. I mean, they don't have no money to spend anyway, so they got to do everything through the draft right about now, and they need to at least. So, yeah, NFC Championship game. I did not have Commanders on my bingo card. Yeah, here they are. Jalen Hurts in a knee brace, but the Eagles under with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback, like I think they're winless when he throws for more than 250 yards in the playoffs. So this seems like it's going to be a Saquon or bust game as usual, and KJ Brown will be reading a book, and if the Commanders can't stop it, that's the way I think this goes. I think if they can run the football, that's that. But then I say that I've been saying it like every week that the Commanders have been in the playoffs. Like if this team can do this, the Commanders are going to lose. The team does it, and the Commanders still win. So I'm at the point now. I'm tired of picking against them. But this is going to be a tough game, divisional matchup. It's really tough to beat a divisional rival multiple times in the season. This is going to be a third matchup. So I don't know, man. I don't even have a pick, but I'm just going to go with the better team, the better roster, and the Eagles. And I don't know. Like I'm not confident in it at all because I think the Commanders could force 2 turnovers and that's it. It's over because I don't think you can depend on Jalen Hurts to throw them back in the game. What you got?
I mean, to me, like I did it last week. Like I haven't counted them out the whole season because I mean, coming into the draft, like I really like Jaden Daniels a lot. Like, I wanted my team to draft Jaden, so I mean, I can't say that I'm not surprised. Like I'm definitely surprised by the season he had. I thought he was gonna have a good season. Didn't think it was gonna be a thing like this. I'm not sure too many people thought he was gonna have a season like this. To be perfectly honest with you, maybe some Commander fans did, but the masses definitely did not. I'm one of the ones that counted them out last week against the Lions, like because I thought the Lions had too much firepower for them, and that wasn't the case. I mean, like they got pressure on Jared Goff, and that's the book on Jared Goff. You get pressure on him, he make mistakes, and I mean once he makes one mistake, he's allowed to make another and another and another mistake. So going into this game, if I'm like the Commanders and the Commander fans, like you're not gonna shut down Saquon. Like that's not gonna happen. I mean he's probably like a top 2 back in the league if he's not number 1. And you just gotta, I mean, you gotta contain him. I mean, you gotta stop him from getting them big runs. I mean, it's okay to give up a 4 or 5 run, a 4-yard, a 5-yard run here, maybe 6 yards, but you gotta those runs over 30 yards, like you kind of gotta shut those down. I mean, you cannot let him run for 60-yard touchdowns, like the Rams let him do last week. And that's just something that you got to stay away from. And I mean, if you can stop the Eagles on early downs and get them in the 3rd and longs and make Jaden throw the ball, and not saying that Jaden can't throw the ball, like I mean, like Jaden is a good quarterback. And I mean, he's got good weapons. He's got Smitty, he's got AJ Brown, he's got Dallas Goedert, and I mean, like he's got Jahan Dotson. So he's got weapons in the passing game. But to me, that's your only avenue is either turning them over like you did against the Lions, or forcing the Eagles into 3rd and longs and making them convert. And as far as the Eagles go, to me, the Eagles, you cannot let this game be close going down with 5-6 minutes to go and the Commanders got the ball. Like that is a situation that you don't want to be in. I'm gonna tell you that right now because he's done that all season. So if you let the game stay close in like a 3 or 4 point game and Jaden got the ball at the end of the game, you're mark my words, you're going to lose. That's what's good. That's just what's going to happen. I mean, like I love the Commanders in this game. I just don't got the strength of my conviction to pick them. Like I just think the Eagles going to win the game. I mean, what I will say is I don't think the Commanders getting blown out. I think it's going to be a really good game. It's the 3rd game they're playing. The last game they played, Jalen got hurt, but the game was close. I mean, even the first game was close going into the 4th quarter. So for the majority of the time that these teams have played in terms of minutes, the games have been close. So I would expect the same thing.
Yeah, I'm there too, man. I want to pick them. I just don't think I can, man. I just that offensive line is too good. The defense, I mean, there's too many good players. Jalen Carter, um, Zach Bond, that secondary. I mean, there's so many guys that I just if Saquon was hurt, I would say all right, I would pick the Commanders. But it's just Jalen Hurts, so you know. I mean, well, Cam Jurgens is questionable, but I'm sure he's going to play. And everybody else, I mean, yeah, like everybody else is fine. I don't know, bro. I can't do it. I want to, but I just can't.
Yeah,
I
and
can't.
that's on that,
I
man.
can't do it. Let's move to the AFC Championship game. Chiefs Bills. I'm gonna try to be unbiased here, man, and say at some point, it has to stop. At some point, you gotta get like you gotta. At some point, it has to stop. I'm hoping that this is the year. Um, this is a version of the Buffalo Bills that, unlike the past, 6 years, we don't rely on Josh Allen to do everything. Like Josh can just sit back and hand the football off and let the running backs and offensive line do their thing. Um, the Chiefs have shown that they can give up rushing yards, and the Bills are really willing to run the football. The Chiefs have had some difficulty defending tight ends. The Bills love to go and throw the ball to their tight ends. The Chiefs haven't been great against running backs coming out the backfield. Joe Brady and the Bills love to involve the running backs in the passing game. So offensively, the Bills match up really well with what the Chiefs want to do. Um, Now on the other side of it, the Chiefs have speed on top of speed on top of speed on top of speed. They got Hollywood Brown, uh, J, Worthy, and obviously Travis Kelsey, Juju, and Hop, D Hop. So I mean, they have a collection of weapons that can attack defenses no matter how you play. If you go man, they're gonna run crosses and match concepts with Worthy, and they're gonna go a bunch and with Hollywood Brown, and they're gonna get these guys free releases, and they're gonna beat your corners down the field. And if your safety play is not great, you're gonna give up some big plays. Taylor Rapp's out, so it's DeMar Hamlin and the rookie Cole Bishop back there for the Bills against Patrick Mahomes, Mr. Fumblerooski, and an assortment of weapons that can beat you in any way you want to play defense. It's going to be tough. I don't know if the Bills are going to get a ton of stops. I do think that the Chiefs will score. They haven't scored over 30 all season. This is probably going to be the game where they do. They'll probably go over 30, and this may end up being the shootout. Ultimately, I'm a Bills fan. I'm going to pick the Bills to win this game. I do think it's close. I think the game hinges on timely stops and turnovers. Whichever team can get a turnover or a timely stop and capitalize on it, they're going to win the game. These teams are very evenly matched. All right, what you got for me, man?
Yeah, so when I look at this game, I mean, like the majority of these Bills Chiefs playoff games be close games, man. It'd be one possession games. And that's just I mean, maybe there might be one like the first matchup, like with Josh and Pat that wasn't particularly close, but the last two have been, pretty damn close. So I mean, for me, like Josh Allen, everyone like the points of his turnovers. He don't turn. I'm gonna say this: he don't turn over the ball in the postseason like that. I think he's got 30 touchdowns to 4 picks. So or like 4 or 5 turnovers, something like some ridiculous, like it's 5 to 1 or 6 to 1, something ridiculous. So when I look at this game, like it's very even though, like, and when you have two rosters that are like pretty close, like I just think that it comes down to the team that make the less mistakes. And you've seen it last week with the Ravens and the Bills. Like the Ravens made more mistakes and they lost the game. It's just the way playoff football is. Like when it comes to playoff football, I don't care about the stats. I don't care about the box score. I don't care. Like, just give me the win. That's all I care about. And that's what my team did a lot of times. Like it don't gotta be pretty, you just gotta win these games. And so like Whittle's like what I don't have to really, really, what Whittle said. I mean, to me also it's gonna be turnovers, and my second key is who runs the ball better. And I mean what that does is when you're facing two teams with good defenses, you've been the ability to run the ball like lessens the pressure on the quarterback. And going into this game, I think when you look at the 4 teams in this weekend, the Bills and the Chiefs got the most pressure out of all 4 teams. To me, the Chiefs' pressure is more on they're trying to three-peat, doing something that a team has never done before. So there's pressure there, but it's also the Bills where like they haven't been in a Super Bowl since the mid '90s. They've never won a Super Bowl, so there's pressure there too. So I think that like looking at it from that point is like pressure situations are pretty much I don't want to say equal because I think the Chiefs have more pressure because you're talking about something historic, like something that has never been done in the history of the league. I mean the Bills winning the Super Bowl would be great for the franchise, but in terms of the landscape of the NFL, like I just don't view it as more pressure than the Chiefs. Going from the Bills' perspective, like I said, they, James Cook and Ty Johnson and Ray Davis, they need to be able to run the ball, and that's going to lessen the pressure, and that's also going to open up the pass game. Because Spags, the thing about this game to me, the major factor is in the second half. Spags is going to show you one thing in the first half, and the second half is going to show you something different. And like in Joe Brady and the Bills are going to have to be able to deal with what he shows them different in the second half. And I think, like what Whittle said, I think it's going to be a shootout. Like I don't like the defenses are good, but I just think when you have 2 premier quarterbacks in the league, they're going to find ways to score points, and you're going to have to keep up. And from the Chiefs' perspective, it's kind of the same thing. Like they're going to have to run the ball. If they run the ball, then it's going to enable them to be able to throw the ball to Kelsey and D Hop and Hollywood and and the rookie kid that they drafted. So I mean, like it's a similar game plan to me. And what I'm looking at is I kind of agree. Like at some point, you face a team this much in the playoffs. At some point, you beat that said team. The same thing happened with Peyton Manning and like playing the Patriots. Like the first couple times he lost and he finally broke through. So I just think it's just a matter of time. And I like the matchup for the Bills. I think Josh Allen is playing at a very high level. Because I've been calling him MVP all year long, and I mean he's played that well for this team. And not to say that Patrick Mahomes isn't playing well. I think Pat is playing pretty good. He's just not playing at his apex. Like his apex was probably about 2 or 3 years ago. The last 2 seasons, whether you want to blame it on the offensive line, like the tackles, or you want to blame it on the receivers dropping, but whatever you want to blame it on, it doesn't matter. He's just not playing at his apex level. And so that's why I got to go with the Bills. I think it's going to be a field goal kind of game. I think it's going to come down to who makes the play at the end of the game. I just think that the Bills are going to make that play, especially on defense, because if I'm not mistaken, they've created the most turnovers in the league.
Yeah.
So you just got to, I mean, the Chiefs have won the last 2 years. They've won three out the last 4 or 5 years. So I just think it's the Bills' time. And what I will say is this: if the Bills don't beat the Chiefs and the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl, I don't think the Chiefs losing. That's one thing I will say.
Agree. I think the winner of the Super Bowl comes out of this AFC Championship game.
And I can agree with that.
Yeah, this time of year, man, it comes down to elite quarterback play, man. And when we talk about the Super Bowl, the fan matchup versus the media matchup versus the league matchup. The fan Super Bowl, Buffalo Bills versus the Washington Commanders. Now, what do you think the media Super Bowl is?
So what you just said about the fan Super Bowl, I definitely agree with that. The media Super Bowl, I think the media would like I just think the media would like the Bills and the Eagles personally, because it's more like when and not to bring up bad history, but the Bills have lost to every other team in that NFC East, right? And so the storyline of that game would be, the Bills going in for a Super Bowl versus the Bills could have lost to every team in one division in the Super Bowl. So it's a great narrative to run with on both sides. And I just think, like, at some point, like, you kind of get chiefed out, man. Like that's just what it is. I mean, like a lot of people starting to get the Chiefs are starting to get the Patriot rap, man. A lot of people don't want them to win. So and it's just, I mean, like it kind of runs its course. I mean, like when you win too much.
Let me throw a curveball at you. I think the media Super Bowl matchup is the AFC Championship game. Like, I think if the media had their way and they could just throw out divisions and conferences and just say, this is the Super Bowl matchup we want, I think it's Mahomes versus Josh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, I can see
For all
that.
the marbles. 3P on the line. Bills got an opportunity to win their first Super Bowl. That's a Super Bowl I think the media wants, but they're in the same conference.
Yeah.
And what do you think the NFL wants to see?
I mean, I think the NFL wants to see Chiefs Commanders personally.
Yep, I agree.
Because you got the go. I mean, like the go to the league right now, the best quarterback in the league versus like the newcomer. Like, I mean, he's the guy that could be, I mean, he could be the Patrick Mahomes of that other side of that conference. If you want to go that far with it, because you got to think about it, like, like the NFC don't got a bunch of great quarterbacks. They got a bunch of good quarterbacks, but I mean, the way he's elevated himself, if he has another year like that, they're going to say he's the best quarterback in that conference. And not, it wouldn't be, if he had the same kind of year this year as next year, it wouldn't be relatively close. He'd be the best quarterback in that conference. And so like I just think the league wants to kind of build that up in terms of Jaden Daniels. And just, being that next top 5 guy. I mean, it's a perfect scenario because like it's great to have guys being in the league that are in the top 5, but it's also great to have guys like him and CJ that have performed pretty well, like in their first year. They kind of want to build these guys up because face it, like the older guys aren't going to play forever. Like they're just not. So I mean, you need to kind of bridge the gap.
Mahomes turns 30 this year, so that's crazy. I mean, that's kind of wild. Like it feels like Mahomes. It feels like Mahomes has been in the league forever, but not really. Like it just feels like it's been a short amount of time. Oh, it's crazy. What was I going to say? Yeah. So that top five spot you just brought up. Um, Justin Herbert is doing everything he can to give it up. So, I mean, and listen, Lamar spot. I mean, I- between like Burrow to missed the playoffs 2 years in a row. Like I know he's put up insane numbers, but missed the playoffs 3 years in a row. I don't know if you still a top five guy, and he's most likely going to lose one of his big weapons this year. I don't know, man. I don't know. No, there's no guarantee that their defense is better next year. I don't know. Like that. There's a couple spots up there in that top five
The
that are not
tenuous,
solidified.
the tenuous.
So
But
yes.
but I mean, so my thing with Herbert is like my only thing is if you're gonna drop Herbert off the top five, then Lamar, even if he win the MVP, you can't call him the second best quarterback in the league, man. Like being
Oh no,
quarterback,
that conversation's over.
yeah,
That's over.
you're like you got to take. Yeah, he has great regular seasons, but the playoffs do matter. I mean, and people got to keep that in mind. And on my top five list, I mean, I didn't have him two coming into this year anyways to begin with. I mean, to me it was Mahomes, Allen, and then between him and Burrow, it's kind of like a discussion that if you want to have. Um, but I mean, my thing, whenever I make these top five lists, man, like I can't put you in that top five out for 1 year. And like Jaden Daniels is really going to test my resolve this year. He really going to test me in the summertime and in the spring and my resolve with my stance. Because I'll say it's like after Jamar Chase had his first year, I didn't even put him in the top five because I'm like, it's just 1 year. You got to show me again. And I'll probably do the same for Jaden. I'll have Jaden slightly out the top five, maybe like 6 or 7, just for that fact. Like I just like I said the same thing with CJ last year. I just need to see it again. And then you've seen the kind of year CJ had, and I'm not putting CJ in the top five either because he didn't have he didn't have as good of a year as he had last year. So that's just my general rule of thumb. Like I gotta have 2 years to kind of show me to be able to put you in that top five, whether it's quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, whatever position you're talking about. Like just give me 2 years.
I gotta push back on CJ not in the top five, man. I
This
gotta
year?
push back on it. Yeah, I got to. Bro, he already has 2 playoff wins. Herbert has 0. 0. And like I could see if there was a situation where it was just like with CJ's team, like last year, I don't even think did he have who did he have? Like he had Tank Dell.
Yeah, Tank Dell had
Wait, Nico, but wasn't Dell hurt in the
Nico.
playoffs?
Dell got hurt later in the season. I think he was. I think it was like late November, December. I mean, he was blocking on a run play. And he broke his leg.
Yeah. Oh, so he was out. So he didn't even have him against the Ravens last year. They got blown out, but they beat the Browns. This year, they go into they mano a mano. They beat Herbert. Sent Herbert home. Herbert and the Chargers were favored.
Yep.
And I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to put CJ in over Justin Herbert now.
Well, I mean,
It's 2 years.
Justin Herbert's definitely not in the top five for me no more. That's
Okay.
I'm not putting him in. I'm not putting him in there. I'm just not sure who I'm gonna put at 5. That's what I'm saying. Like
It
like
can't
right
be
now,
golf. It can't be golf. Like that.
no,
Who else is it?
I mean, I'm not even sure. I mean, CJ might be in there by default though. Honestly, think about it.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
But so what I do is, I mean, before I make these lists, like I be rewatching a lot. Like once the Super Bowl's over, like I just I rewatch my team in a lot of these games, and that's how I kind of decide who I'm gonna put in the top 5 and not in like each position group. So I just got to look at it again. But right now, I mean, the 5th spot is the open spot for me. Like 1 through 4 is kind of locked. It's locked down for me. Like there's no. I mean, it's Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Jackson. I think that's your top 4. And then the 5th, I'm just have to think about. But I mean, CJ might fall in there though. So
you got Lamar. You got Burrow over Lamar.
I gotta
because Ravens and Bengals fans they gonna see this, and they in Cancun they gonna argue about it. So they gotta know.
I'm gonna have to say that Burrow is better than Lamar. I'm gonna have to go there. I got Lamar.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to say that because Because just from the sheer numbers that I mean, I get that Burrow didn't have a good season, but so my question is, if you put Lamar on that Bengals team, what do you think they do?
I think they make the playoffs. Let me be honest with you. I think they
I
make the
don't know.
playoffs because of how good Lamar is off schedule. Like you don't really need a great offensive line when you have Lamar Jackson. It's nice to have, but I think with the receiving options that they have, and Chase Brown being so good out in space and how fast he is, I think Lamar would have made something shake out there because he's so elusive.
I mean, he might have on offense, but they didn't have an issue scoring points. The issue was on defense. That's why I think
True. But
it might have been a
they would have ran the football, but he would have run the football a lot more than Burrow, which means they're gonna play more of a time possession, ball control style of game. I think Chase Brown rushes for more yards than he does with Burrow because of the threat of Lamar. Like I gotta give Lamar the credit for that. Like especially like if you go back and watch that Pittsburgh game, like Lamar would uh would fake the handoff and take off, or look like he was about to take off, and actually give the ball up, and like three Pittsburgh defenders are following Lamar. So, I got to give him the credit for that. He is going to pull. He's going to pull a lot of attention.
I mean, but yeah,
I gotta give the edge to Lamar. I mean, we can agree to disagree on that, but
because I was going to
yeah,
say,
I
because even
think
if he drags that team to the playoffs, they're not winning the playoffs anyway.
no, not at all, not at all.
So it's not like it was like so. I mean, between Burrow and Lamar Jackson, like I think it's really close though. I don't think you're
Yeah,
wrong either way. It's just kind of like where you stand on the quarterbacks, regular season versus the playoffs. That's kind
yeah.
of what you standing on pretty much.
Now I do think Burrow on the Ravens probably puts the Ravens in the Super Bowl as like the favorite because he's not going to miss the throws that Lamar misses. He's going to play better than Lamar does in the playoffs. And you give him a line like that,
And the running game, like
Bateman, Flowers, Derrick Henry, Andrews, and Likely. I don't know if they might win. They might three-peat. That's a team that might three-peat with that defense and Burrow at the quarterback. They might three-peat.
so I mean, what we just created was a argument for the spring between Bengal fans and for freaking Raiders fans.
I'm
So
perfect. I'm going to make sure I push that agenda today at some point. Oh man, but listen, that's it for this week, man. We didn't even get into score predictions. We got to do that, man. Score predictions for the NFC Championship game and AFC Championship game.
yeah,
I'm gonna put you on the spot and
yeah, I
let you
didn't.
go last. Well, no, go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I really didn't think about it till you said it. But give me 28-24 Eagles, and in the Bills game, give me 30-27 Bills.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 27-20 Eagles, and I'm gonna go 31-23 Bills. Yeah, 31-23 Buffalo. That's it. Yeah. All right. Let's throw a bow on it, Mr. Producer. We're done. Thank you guys again for popping in with us for another episode of Round It Up. Um, we have been very good with our picks. We have been a lot better than most of you have been. But yeah, we appreciate the support. Tap back in with us next Saturday, 9 a.m. We'll do this again. We'll be previewing the Super Bowl. I may or may not be crying, depending on how this weekend goes. But we always appreciate the support. Thank you all, and see you guys next week.